What's up, everyone? This is Emily, and I welcome you to the Candid Sphinx podcast. Thanks for joining me to explore the cosmic connections between cultural history, energy work, and conscious living.
Hey, long time, no podcast. Turns out I've needed some time to learn some more spiritual lessons of my own. But I'm back, and intend to be back more consistently. I'm here now to quickly discuss one of the most impactful lessons I've learned lately. That lesson is to treat our desires and intentions as if they've already manifested. And you'll soon understand just how literally I mean that. It's one of many tips I picked up in Spirit Hacking, a book I highly recommend, written by Shaman Durek. And it's a way of using the law of attraction most effectively. To be succinct, since you could very likely already know, like attracts like. The law of attraction is what people are citing when they say we create our own reality. We draw in experiences and align with timelines that are a vibratory match for our own energetic state of being and our level of consciousness. Our thoughts, emotions, words, beliefs, perceptions, and conditioning shape our reality. That's because they're all energetic structures too. They ripple outward from our consciousness and, finding their equivalent in the infinite possibilities of the quantum field, feed our own personal version of what is back to us. Thus, speaking is creating, thinking is creating, feeling is creating. What we choose to believe for what reasons is creating. And the universe doesn't predetermine if what we're creating with our words and thoughts is right or wrong. Like a mirror, it's just reflecting back to us that which we are putting out into it. We are universal energy ourselves, endowed with all its creative power in our own scope. This is how we co-create, how everyone can exist in their own reality, how all truths can be true, and how we can come to embrace non-duality. Complaining gets us more reasons to complain about what we're complaining about. People are nothing but uncultured slobs these days, you say? You'll continue to come across many uncultured slobs. But who might you meet if you said people seem so cultivated, so considerate, so curious about the world, history, and fine and performing arts these days? Hope is wonderful, but can be wishy-washy if coupled with doubt. Worry can steer us towards timelines in which we experience exactly what we're worrying about. Desire keeps us continually desiring. Waiting for it to happen, wanting it to happen, can hold us in the pattern of waiting and wanting. The trick is to not even acknowledge circumstances as they are, but to express conviction and gratitude that the intended outcome has already been experienced. I'm not advising delusions of grandeur. I'm talking about assuming command of our intrinsic nature as creators. And assuming command as the creators we are has me thinking of artistic creation. Specifically, the creation of new art movements. Pretty much all major art historical movements represent a discernible break from what came before. Individual artists or groups of artists have tended to look at the popular imagery, symbolism, and narratives of their era and see beyond it all, not only envisioning something different, but actually sketching out the future of visual art in pencil, ink, and paint. New genres and styles didn't exactly pop up by repeating the status quo. That which was previously unimagined by society, but already existed within the artist, had to be committed to canvas or paper, or shaped in stone or clay. It may have involved some experimentation, dabbling, and development. Though new approaches to light, line, color, and texture, new ideals and zeitgeists, new stories, new techniques, and new inspiration from new muses had to be expressed finitely to have any effect at all. I don't think any artist ever asked permission to create a new way of seeing, or if any art movement was ever wished into being. It's just made. We can see how an adamant attitude manifests marvels by taking a super quick, cursory sprint through a typical timeline of Western art history. The Italian Renaissance is a solid place to start. with its devotion to humanism and the most precise depictions of nature, anatomy, and perspective possible. The Northern Renaissance explored much of the same, but in even more mind-blowingly minute detail. Then Mannerism rolled up and rebelled against the Renaissance's perfection with exaggerated images of towering figures with twisting, elongated limbs and otherworldly color palettes of pastels and bold hues. Baroque later became the very richly saturated flavor of the day. It both ramped up the drama and brought it back down to earth, using light and dark shades, lots of thick browns, metallics, and deep jewel tones to create extreme contrasts and to achieve more realistic modeling of facial features and objects. Rococo broke up with the heaviness of the Baroque, delighting much more in daintiness. The elegant, organic, and ethereal was in demand, and artists produced many airy, shiny, watery, gauzy, cherubic, pastoral images in a rainbow of pale, flirtatious colors. All that got a bit too frilly for the neoclassical, which coincided with the archaeological rediscoveries of Herculaneum and Pompeii, and brought on a fresh, Renaissance-worthy, kinda rigid obsession with classicism and the ancient world. Order, rationality, and clean, symmetrical lines were everywhere to be seen. Romanticism rather wanted to remember what it was like to feel something. Passionate throes of emotion, imaginative flights of fancy, the awe of being small and human in the massively sublime presence of nature, the amazement of seeing steam power for the first time. Its hazy swirl of ecstasy and melancholy tipped the visual arts towards abstraction in a new way. Realism preferred the raking light of the real world, focusing particularly on the harshness and dignity of the lives of peasants and laborers with unflinching precision. Academic art proclaimed its ultimate canonical edict on how to portray a perfectly proportioned, perfectly polished human body, while Art Nouveau was happy to borrow the linear stylization, patternation, and loose nature motifs found in woodblock prints from Asia. Impressionism wanted to capture what it saw with its own eyes, as the shifting sun transformed the colors and shadows of the world around it. Its rapid brushstrokes and color blocking of softer shades exude an almost childlike sense of wonder. Post-Impressionism grew up to be a bit edgier, choosing bolder palettes and more visionary, ambiguous subject matter. Fauvism produced wilder beasts, prone to splash color all about at will. And Expressionism went totally buck wild, portraying the chaos of the internal landscape instead of hills, rivers, or city streets. And this went on through the fractured realities of Cubism, the sometimes hellish dreamscapes of Surrealism, abstract expressionism's infatuation with flatness in the media it employed, on through all recognized modern and contemporary art movements, on up to the present day. Some of these changes were quite welcome. Some were relegated to the fringes of popularity, or even downright scorned in their own time. The proof is in the art historical pudding. There's no need to worry about being in accordance with everyone else's taste. Make your mark. Leave everyone else to create their own living image of the world, one they're happy enough with, so as to not even feel compelled to be critical of how others are mark-making. What all these art movements had in common was a glimpse of something different, and the audacity to express it, give it form, and put it on public display. Pairing an unwavering gaze with a hand in motion, knowing the worth of what they wanted to see, artists forged their truth into fruition. Someone simply had to see it done. And so it is when crafting reality for ourselves and the collective consciousness. I'm serious. Set intentions by saying they're already done. Start small if need be, with things you can absolutely believe in, and build from there. Say something like, I'm so grateful, fill in the blank, happened. Be specific. Say it out loud if you can. Really let it vibrate out there. Though silent expressions in our minds totally work too. Know it's occurred. Embody that gratitude to your core. Then let go as best you can. Don't fuss over it. Let the universe do its thing, filling in the rest of the picture as you meet up with what's already occurred for you. You may feel a bit crazy at first, talking in the future tense, or seem crazy to others, just like some artists of the past did. I'm pretty sure I recently read somewhere that when the Impressionists showed their works independently, having been rejected from the mainstream salon, art world elites would come in just to laugh at their paintings. For us, it helps to understand reality as quite malleable and fluid, and time as something that's bigger than our linear take on it. You may have to correct yourself while forming new habits of thought and speech. Do it anyway. If I catch myself saying things like, "Oh, I wish that," or "I hope that," or "it'll be great when," I try to cut myself off, snap out of it, and rephrase with something, again, like, "I'm so grateful XYZ happened. That's the timeline I'm in." Test it out too, and you will see the results. Oh, wait, you already have. How do I know it works? On a personal level, well, I first felt a bit weird sharing this, but actually feel guided to. We manifested a house. A rather perfect house for us, with a garden, in the exact neighborhood I preferred, having negotiated well, and seeing the deal just get sweeter until it closed. I credit it by and large to being uncompromising on the fact that we already had a perfect house, with a garden, in a neighborhood I loved, and got a sweet deal on it too, despite living in a noisy Chicago apartment for 2 years of the craziest real estate rodeo ever. It's safe to say, I'm excited to flex this principle of saying it's already done more, now that I feel more dexterous with it. Disclaimer, it's not exactly a poof of glittery fairy godmother magic. But it is a type of magic. One that helps reshape our subconscious minds, rip away limitations, and ripen our mastery over our own lives. The results are already there. Even if it takes a bit of time to encounter them, they already exist. I certainly do believe in quick, instant manifestation as well, especially at levels of consciousness that seriously comprehend how everything's pure energy, beyond any blocks of materiality or physicality. The "it's already happened" outlook can only help with that. So, I'm gonna go now, and until we chat again, allow me to say congratulations on that beautiful something you've manifested. Just like an artiste